Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in and checking out my latest video. Today's video, I wanted to pay my respects to the greatest, Muhammad Ali. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to be talking about what made him so great inside the ring and outside the ring and why he's such a special man who unified the world. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to have some photos, quotes, etc. at the end of the video, so please tune in. I hope you guys enjoy. So Muhammad Ali, this is a guy who started his journey at age 12. He wanted to fight after his bicycle was stolen, so he took up some boxing training. And little did he know, well, actually, Muhammad Ali probably knew because he had a great belief in himself, how much of a legend he would later become in life. Now, when you look at Muhammad Ali as a fighter, this is a guy who competed in the best era in heavyweight boxing, and his resume speaks for himself, defeating the legendary Joe Frazier twice, beating Ernie Shavers, the hardest puncher arguably in the sport of boxing, defeating guys like Ron Lyle, Ken Norton, Jerry Quarry, the toughest fighter to ever live, in my opinion, George Favallo. And then you have guys like Zora Foley, Cleveland Williams. Some of these names are not household names, but these guys are great fighters who would be champions in this era of heavyweight boxing, no question in my mind. And then, of course, Ali's biggest triumph in the ring, in my opinion, was his victory over George Foreman, the Rumble in the Jungle. Outstanding upset in that fight because we got to remember going into that fight, George Foreman was a killer. He was annihilating everybody. Foreman, arguably, you could even say he's the hardest puncher of all time, really. Foreman just annihilating guys like Ken Norton, Joe Frazier, making these guys look average, destroying his opponents, destroying heavy bags. He was the most feared man, I would say, in the world at that point. Everybody going into that fight thought Ali was going to get seriously hurt and knocked out in that encounter. But Ali showed everybody how great he was. He sat on the ropes. He took these vicious blows by Foreman, tired Foreman out, ends up finishing George Foreman in that fight and adding to his legendary mystique as a fighter. Um, Ali's self belief in himself no doubt made him one of the greatest, along with his skills and everything else outside the ring. And that's the biggest triumph, I believe, in the sport of boxing Ali had, beating the great George Foreman. And Ali has so many great wins, though. I mean, you could go through his resume. This guy arguably has the best boxing resume in history with his wins. He's a guy who took on everybody in the sport of boxing. Nowadays, we have an issue with the best fighting the best. Ali took on everybody. He was never afraid. He had too much pride in himself to bow down to any man. Ali was just a great, great fighter, and that's what made him so great inside the ring. Now, outside the ring, this is what separates Muhammad Ali from a lot of people in the world. Ali was a guy who stood up for his beliefs. This is a guy who lost 3 years of his career to not going into the Vietnam War. He did not believe in the war. And Ali also converted to the Nation of Islam, and he was a guy who was just doing these daring moves at a time when it was like socially unacceptable to be speaking out and acting like how Muhammad Ali was acting at this time. And he was ridiculed. His own country turned on him. It was very hard for him to get fights, in certain periods of time, which is why he had to go to Canada to fight George Chavello in Toronto at one point of his career in the 1960s. And Canada was actually the first country that really embraced Muhammad Ali. A lot of people say that nobody liked him in the 60s because of his stances in the war and etc. But Canada, he was highly embraced, and he spoke very highly about Canada as a country. That should be noted. A lot of people don't talk about that. And some stories from outside the ring about Ali's greatness. This is a guy who saved a man from jumping off a building from suicide. This is a man who drove from his training camp early in the morning to meet a child in a hospital who had cancer. This is a man who also brought back hostages dealing with Saddam Hussein in a stage of Parkinson's where his health was not good. He forgot his medication. That goes to show you how great and the courage that Muhammad Ali had as a person. Now, a friend of mine, Harry Wiley, his father, Harry Wiley Sr., actually worked with Muhammad Ali, and I wanted to share some personal stories that nobody knows pretty much in the world except for stories that Harry told about his father and Ali's time together. So, great story about Ali is Harry's father had passed away, and Ali came and took over the funeral. He paid for everything. He gave money for Harry's mother to buy him school supplies, clothing, etc. And Ali, at one point in his career, also, they were in a bar, I believe, in New York City. Harry had told me, and two people came up to Ali and Harry Wiley, who also trained Sugar Ray Robinson. Like I said earlier, Harry Wiley Sr., who worked with Ray Robinson, worked with Ali, worked with Joe Louis, um, Henry Armstrong, so many great fighters. He was with Ali in this New York City bar, and two people came up to Ali and they said, Ali, can I get your autograph? Ali told them, I want you to go over to that guy and ask him for his autograph. And he told those two guys to go up and ask him for the autograph. And he's told them that this is the greatest trainer to ever live, which was Harry Wiley Sr. Very cool gesture for Ali to send the two guys requesting autographs over first to see Harry Wiley and pay their respects to him as a trainer, because this guy is so underappreciated in the sport of boxing. He should be in the Hall of Fame. And Ali really thought he was a genius as a trainer. And these are some great stories that Harry Wiley's son passed along to me. Also, another good story that I heard that he had passed on to me was that Ali, at one time, he went to a Holocaust home in the States for Holocaust survivors. And he had made a comment when he was leaving, like, we'll see you guys next year, I'll come back and visit. And they said there won't be next year. So what had happened was they didn't have enough money to keep this establishment running. So Muhammad Ali went to the bank and said, don't close it. Take off whatever you need out of my next purse for my fight. So Ali donated a substantial amount of money to keep this home for Jewish Holocaust survivors open. And you got to remember, Muhammad Ali is a Muslim. And we see all the tension in the world between those two different religions. But that goes to show you the love that Muhammad Ali had for people. Along with another great story of Ali being at some kind of convention. I believe Harry was with him. And Ali, there was a gentleman who came by, and some of the security working at the venue said, oh, Ali's not going to sign all these Sports Illustrated, because this guy collected every Sports Illustrated up until this point in Ali's later career. And I believe Ali was retired at this point, so you can imagine the number of Sports Illustrated magazines. Ali told this gentleman that if he could take the time to collect so many magazines about him, that Ali could take the time to sign all these magazines. So Ali signed countless amount of Sports Illustrated magazines for this guy. And he was just a great, great guy. Loved the fans. You hear stories about people showing up to his house and him inviting them in just to hang out with him. He was a truly incredible person. He didn't have security. The people loved him. There's only one Muhammad Ali, and whatever you're going to do, whenever you're going to talk about Muhammad Ali, you can call him the greatest, you can call him the people's champion, the king, the best heavyweight of all time. But whatever you talk about Muhammad Ali, as long as you associate Ali with being the greatest at whatever that is, that's the respect that Muhammad Ali deserves. So when you talk about the name Muhammad Ali, you got to associate it with greatness. Any kind of acronym, metaphor you want to use, that's how Muhammad Ali should be described. And that's how he will always be remembered, is being a true visionary outside the ring, along with a guy with extreme courage inside the ring. And this is why Ali, a guy who at one point in his life couldn't even eat in restaurants with other people, he was kicked out of these restaurants for being a black man, he became the most famous man in the world and the most loved man in the world. And that goes to show you the incredible nature of Muhammad Ali and what a sad loss that it's been for the world. But this great man, we had him around for 74 years. And this man lived, in my opinion, a life of a 130-year-old. Everything he accomplished in his life. There will truly never be another Ali. And I cannot thank him enough for what he did in and outside the ring. True visionary. Without Muhammad Ali, there wouldn't be me on here talking about boxing. There wouldn't be a lot of people who love the sport of boxing like they do. So we really owe Muhammad Ali everything that we have for the sport of boxing outside the ring. And this guy, man, I tell you, we're just going to miss him. He's just such a great man, such a great fighter, and such a great person. Rest in peace, the greatest Muhammad Ali. Thank you very much for everything you've done. And I just want to send my condolences as well to his family. But the greatest of spirit will always live on. And that's the way we're going to remember him, is just this visionary, a legend, and the greatest. The best heavyweight of all time. in and out of the ring. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning into the video. Please share with me your favorite Ali memories. If you guys have any cool stories that you've heard or just your favorite fights. Anything out of respect for Ali, guys. Thank you very much once again, and rest in peace to the greatest Muhammad Ali.